one moment. Let me get this YouTube connected real quick, guys. Give me one moment. Let me get this YouTube connected. And we're going to get this stream going. All right, we got YouTube is right here. Let me make sure that is the title. That is not the title. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why the title didn't converge. That was crazy. That title should have changed. I don't know why it didn't change. So good though. We're gonna get that fixed right now. Give me one moment, guys. We're getting these streams going. You know, that's all I thought that was gonna be a quick way to be able to get me my title. So we're actually putting in another title in YouTube. I'm changing the description while we speak. We're doing the description while we speak. Give me one moment. This is all going to be taken care of in like a few seconds. Nothing major, nothing crazy. You know, so definitely please get in that chat section, man. We're actually changing the thumbnail. You know, this is show you guys that this is something that I do. I don't, no assistance. We get it done, bro. No complaining. We overachieve. We overachieve, but we overcome. We go over the hurdles. You know what I mean? We don't let stuff pull us down. Pause. You know what I mean? We don't allow nothing to pull us down. So I'm gonna actually have to change some of these tags. I don't know what happened. I thought I had everything set up, but it's all good. Please get in that chat section, man. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this content. So what we actually have here, let me hit that like button. Hit that like button. There we go. Okay, so YouTube is connected, so we are connected. Here we go. So we actually got a live video. We got a video, not a live video, but we actually got a video here of Newsom getting interviewed. This is what this is. This is Newsom getting interviewed by, I believe, who is it? Fox News? No, NBC News. Sorry, NBC News. This is Newsom's interview. You know, I think this was just like earlier today. I was going to do something on Hakeem, but he don't got nothing. He dropped 20 minutes to 12 minutes today, 18 minutes yesterday. We might have to get back into that topic tomorrow morning. But please, so let's check out this interview that Newsom. Let's listen to what, but please get in that chat section. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this content. And please do me a favor. Share this live out to all your social media platforms. Let's go, man.
Lost in the wilderness. Do you believe the Democratic brand is damaged right now?
Not right now. 4 months ago, if you asked me that question, I would have been struggling to find positive signs of the party. I feel it's a completely different moment. I feel like we're on the precipice of a remarkable moment on November 4th. And not only where I'm confident we're going to win here with Proposition 50, but you're going to have two new remarkable governors in Virginia and New Jersey. You're going to have a dynamic young mayor, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, that ran an extraordinary and exceptional campaign that galvanized people that frankly have been disenfranchised from politics. And we've got leaders now that have a united front and a message that's breaking through on healthcare with Schumer's and Jeffries that give me real confidence that the Democratic Party is on its ascendancy, and November 4th will be a pivotal moment marking a new frame, new energy for our party. We're
going to talk about each of those issues that you just mentioned, but it sounds like you're predicting a big night for Democrats on November 4th.
Yeah, I am, and for obvious reasons. I mean, this is a historically unpopular president. His policies are even more unpopular than the president himself. In every core category, he's underwater. And he's a guy who promised to make us wealthier and healthier. We're poorer and sicker. Across the board, people are starting to realize that not only is our coffee more expensive, their beef is more expensive, but the cost of an automobile is more expensive. Since he became president, the cost of utilities, all the things he promised to solve day one, he hasn't solved. So his recklessness aside, his style aside, the substance he hasn't delivered. And that's why, again, we're here, Prop 50, because he knows he's going to lose the midterms and he's trying to rig the election before one vote is cast.
You acknowledge, though, that Democrats still have a significant amount of rebuilding to do. What specifically do you think Democrats have to do in order to be a viable party again in the midterms in the next presidential election?
Win. People want to see what winners matters, momentum, strength, not weakness. I think the one thing that's marked the Democratic Party in the last number of months, you get shellacked in election. When you lose the electoral vote, the popular vote, we lost both houses of Congress, and we were in doubt. There was anxiety. I mean, who are we as a party? There was concern about our ability to lead this remarkable moment, the shock and awe coming from Donald Trump. We were on our heels. We weren't on our toes. And so I think people want strength. They want clarity. They want conviction. And then we could talk about a positive alternative message. Obviously, Trump and Trumpism in the situational crisis that's at hand for our democracy, our republic, needs to be addressed. But at the same time, people will rightfully ask, all right, what's the positive alternative vision for this country that will come from the Democratic Party, and when does that messaging process begin?
What should that vision be? What should the positive alternative message be?
You deal with the cards that are dealt. You deal with the situation at hand. I mean, right now we have a crisis of democracy. This guy, it's no longer the rule of law, it's the rule of Don. He's testing every theory. He's pushing boundaries that are unprecedented in U.S. history. By some estimates, a third of all the court decisions he's completely dismissed. He's an extortion racket as it relates to the universities, law firms, the media, what he's trying to do to all institutions that cultivate individual or independent thinking. And so it requires us to be clear and aggressive to call that out and address that obstacle. At the same time, as we move to pivot after November to the midterm elections and beyond, that gives the party the opportunity to really reestablish its why. Its purpose, what are its policies, what is it fighting for, what is it reconciling as it relates to the losses of the past, and how are we going to address those issues moving forward? Well,
Democrats in Washington believe they have found a winning issue in their battle over health care. The government shutdown, now the second longest in U.S. history. Democrats essentially saying any bill to reopen the government has to include an extension of health care subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of the year. Do you believe Democrats have picked the right fight?
Well, I'd say you're welcome to America. I mean, rural and red states that are disproportionately the beneficiaries of the Democrat stance. We're fighting for the people that voted not just for our party and our values and principles, but voted for Donald Trump and his party. We have their back. Donald Trump has betrayed them. He's turned their back. The Republicans in Congress have turned their back. So absolutely your question, absolutely it's the right issue because it breaks through at a time of great economic anxiety. The idea that you're going to face a 1 to 3+100% increase in your premiums in a matter of months is the issue that defines more issues in more ways on more days for more Americans. So it's absolutely the right call.
And yet federal workers are suffering. The lines are getting longer outside of food banks. Some 5 million Californians stand to potentially lose food assistance. Yeah. What do you say to those 5 million Californians who are afraid their families are going to go hungry and they want Democrats to get together with Republicans and reopen the government?
I think it's a disgrace. The USDA's never done this in the past. They said they have a contingency fund for precisely this moment. They said just a few days ago on November 30th, rather September 30th, that the contingency fund exists for a moment like this, a likely government shutdown. So there's you're right, 5.5 million Americans that live in my home state that will be impacted by the decision, the choice by the Trump administration to cut this program during Thanksgiving. And those same people will face unprecedented prices for beef and coffee and other basic goods, just as they're facing unprecedented costs for candy, up 10.8% for Halloween. And what we will all experience is this war on Christmas and the cost of toys because of Trump's recklessness on this massive sales tax increase of working families and blue-collar workers called tariffs.
And yet,
we have something cool here. What you're looking at is...
Salute to my guy, Scotty Waddles, checking in the building. Hold on, man. Let me mute this over here, man. Salute to my guy. Let me mute that. Pause that. Let me skip this commercial. Salute to my guy, Scotty Waddles. Where you at, Scotty? My guy, Scotty, checking in on Kick. What's poppin', my guy? Let me give you some of these emojis. They got these emojis over here. Throwing some of them emojis. Let me see what, they got emojis over here. Throw some of these emojis up in there, man. Salute to my guy, Scotty Waddles, man. So we actually streaming. This is today's second stream. We already did a stream today. You know what I mean? And what is that, Scotty? My guy, Scotty, just checked in on Twitch. Right? Is that what that is now? Yeah, my guy Scotty Waddles is over there on Twitch. Man, salute, man. We appreciate the love, man. We appreciate the support. You know, we actually did, this is actually our second stream today. We did a stream this morning. Like I said, man, we're going to start doubling up these streams. Salute to everybody on Instagram watching. Salute to everybody on Facebook watching. Salute to everybody on YouTube. Salute to everybody on Kick. I don't know what's going on over here. Salute to everybody on Kick, man. Salute to everybody on Instagram. We're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Rumble. We're live on Kick. We're live on Twitch. And we're live on YouTube. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, we're live in vertical, made for your phones, up and down. But on Rumble, Kick, and Twitch, we're live on horizontal, made for your TVs. So please get in that chat section, man, no matter what platform you at, and let me know, do you agree with Gavin Newsom or what? Let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, we actually had a great live this morning, you know, and let's get into this.
The decision, the choice by the Trump administration to cut this program during Thanksgiving, and those same people will face unprecedented prices for beef and coffee and other basic goods, just as they're facing unprecedented costs for candy, up 10.8% for Halloween. And what we will all experience is this war on Christmas and the cost of toys because of Trump's recklessness on this massive sales tax increase of working families and blue-collar workers called tariffs.
And yet, Governor, people are suffering. Are you concerned that at the end of the day, they're going to blame both parties equally, and there will be a political price to pay for this fight that Democrats are
I don't think it's about who's to blame. It's not about who's up, who's down. It's about all of us. We're all better off, and we're all better off. And you know what? I'm a little old-fashioned. I'm a governor. I've been an executive, mayor. You got to negotiate with the legislature. It's called a co-equal branch of government. You don't get to do always what you want, Mr. President. It means you have to work with Congress. And right now you have congressional leadership, Republican leadership, that is completely supine. They're appeasing this president. At least the Democrats are standing up for the people they represent in this republic. And what they're asking for, overwhelmingly, American people are asking for relief on health care costs. Donald Trump can simply provide that by negotiating in good faith. But let's establish some facts. Let's remember where we started. Donald Trump had no interest in meeting with the two leaders. And then he got pressure and decided to meet with them. But how did he meet with them? Not with meet the press in the room. He did it with 2028 Trump hats to troll the Republicans. He was never serious about a deal. He wanted this shutdown. And if you think I'm overstating it, why was he golfing over the weekend before the shutdown? Why has he been overseas the last week cleaning up his own mess as it relates to trade and tariff policies, and not negotiating in good faith, knowing November 1st was around the corner. He's not serious. He doesn't want this shutdown to end. And that's what we're up against. And I think the American people understand that.
Let's talk about the battle that you are waging here in California over Prop 50. For people who are watching, this would enable a redistricting effort here in the state to add additional Democratic seats. It comes after Republicans in Texas moved to redistrict to add up to 5 additional Republican seats there at the direction of President Trump. Do you think that Prop 50 is going to pass on Tuesday, Governor?
I'm deeply confident, as long as we do everything that we set out to do over the next few days. We don't believe in running the 90-yard dash. We run at peak the 110-yard dash. But the people have spoken. I mean, spoken so far in historic ways. It's a special election. We've seen unprecedented number of ballots already.
Oh, and hold up, man. Salute to the new follower on Kick. Salute. I forgot to say that we got a new follower at some point. We got 6 followers on Kick. Hit that follow button over there on Twitch, man. There's a few of y'all over there watching. We only got 3 followers, man. We're trying to blow up these platforms, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, or hit that follow button, man, because we're actually streaming to 6 different platforms. We're in vertical and we're in horizontal at the same time. We're streaming on both formats and multiple different platforms. So please get in that chat section. Let me know, do you agree or disagree with this content?
Sent in. We have an all-mail-in ballot system here, and of course we have a big turnout we expect on Election Day. But we're seeing overwhelming understanding and recognition of what's at stake. And remember, it's Prop 50, because this impacts everyone watching in all 50 states. As I said a moment ago, Donald Trump is an historic president, historically unpopular. He's been very open and honest, including right outside the White House just last week, saying incumbents are likely to lose the midterms. That's why he called Greg Abbott. That's why he said he's, quote unquote, entitled. Think about that. Entitled to 5 seats. That's why he sent J.D. Vance to Indiana shortly thereafter. That's why he moved in Missouri. He moved the folks in North Carolina. And now we've got a special election in Indiana, or rather a special session, and likely movement in Florida. He is not screwing around. He's changing the rules. He's rigging the game because he knows he'll lose if all things are equal. He did not expect California to fight fire with fire. He expected us, as so often is the case, to try to argue for what's the right thing to do. He did not expect us to do what we did in unprecedented fashion, transparent, temporary, and democratic way. These are the first maps in U.S. history to go in front of the voters themselves. At the same time, we reaffirm our desire for national independent redistricting, no longer burdened by having one hand tied behind our back as this guy is cheating on the other side.
You have the support of many Democrats, including a lot of top Democrats, former President Barack Obama, and yet your predecessor, former Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, disagrees with this effort. He's been one of your most vocal critics.
I think that Prop 50 is a big scam. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it says that we should fight Trump and because he's a threat to democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution in California, get rid of the independent commission that draws the district lines and take the power away from the people and give it back to the politicians.
What do you say to Governor Schwarzenegger, who says the fight for Prop 50 is just a big scam?
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all, we're not throwing out the independent redistricting. We're affirming national independent redistricting. We're maintaining our current independent redistricting for statewide races, but in response to what happened in Texas, temporarily changing the maps for 3 cycles for the congressional races. It reverts then back to its original form, number 1. Number 2, the people are just.
Hey, am I bugging? Am I tripping? Or did Arnold Schwarzenegger said that you're going to change the lines and take the power out of the people and put it into the politician? Newsom said, no, he wasn't. And then he followed up to talk about how he's going to change the lines. And then it's going to go. You just said you wasn't going to do that. Listen, I'm not capping. Listen.
You have the support of many Democrats, including a lot of top Democrats, former President Barack Obama. And yet, your predecessor, former Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, disagrees with this effort. He's been one of your most vocal critics.
I think that Prop 50 is a big scam. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it says that we should fight Trump and because he's a threat to democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution in California, get rid of the independent commission that draws the district lines and take the power away from the people and give it back to the politicians.
So you see how he talks about how they want to erase the lines, right? I really want you to pay attention to that. Because you're going to hear him say that, no, that's not. I'm going to bring it back because I'm going to actually record this. And we're going to make we're going to make a clip out of this and we're going to upload this on the TikTok. We're going to put this as a reel on Facebook as well. So please get in that chat section, man. I don't care what platform you're at, man. We stream it to 6 different platforms and 2 different layouts, man. Let's go. Hit the record button real quick. So if the stream messes up, give it a few minutes. I got y'all.
No longer burdened by having one hand tied behind our back as this guy is cheating on the other side.
You have the support of many Democrats, including a lot of top Democrats, former President Barack Obama. And yet, your predecessor, former Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, disagrees with this effort. He's been one of your most vocal critics.
I think that Prop 50 is a big scam. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it says that we should fight Trump and because he's a threat to democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution in California, get rid of the independent commission that draws the district lines and take the power away from the people and give it back to the politicians.
What do you say to Governor Schwarzenegger, who says the fight for Prop 50 is just a big scam?
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all, we're not throwing out the independent redistricting. We're affirming national independent redistricting. We're maintaining our current independent redistricting for statewide races, but in response to what happened in Texas, temporarily changing the maps for 3 cycles for the congressional races. It reverts then back.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, man. Come follow me on Rumble, Twitch, Kick, or Twitch. We're actually streaming to 6 different platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Rumble, we're on Twitch, we're on Kick, or we're on YouTube. What I mean is we're streaming in vertical, like for your phone, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're on horizontal, like for your TV, on Rumble, Twitch, and Kick, all on one stream, 2 different formats, multiple platforms. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You know what's funny to me is that you just heard Arnold Schwarzenegger say, I don't like it because you're going to change the lines and take away the power from the people and put it into the politicians' hands. Then you heard Newsom say, no, we're not doing that. Then he turns around and tells you how they're going to do exactly the very thing that he said they weren't going to do, that Arnold Schwarzenegger said you were going to do. How much sense does that even make? You said, no, it's only going to be for 3. It's only, but you just said you weren't going to do it. Then you flipped the block, spun the block, and said you are going to do it. Please hit that like button. Get in that chat section. Let me know, do you agree or disagree with this content? And please give me a follow on Rumble, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Get at me, man. The name of this 5-5. Let's go. I'm sorry about that for everybody who was watching. Let me let this thing catch up real quick. I gotta let this catch up. Sorry for that, man. Let me let this catch up. Let me let the stream catch up. Give it one moment. It'll catch up right now. Give it one moment. It'll smooth out right now. I know everybody who's watching on vertical, they're like, what you talking about? The stream is smooth. Well, on the horizontal, I got a lot going on because I was not only recording on the vertical, I was recording the horizontal. I was recording both at the same time. Like literally, I was recording both streams. I was recording the vertical and the horizontal streams. So for those of you guys wondering, this is the stream what it looks like on vertical right now. See the different layout on vertical? My people on horizontal, this is the stream. You see how I got the phone? Because that's right now. I'm telling you, it looks different on the vertical than the horizontal. The layouts are different. The placement of what's on your screen looks different. It's in different places. Yeah, man. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, man. Please get in that chat section, man. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this content. But as you can see, Arnold Schwarzenegger said that you were going to erase the lines and move the power from the people to the politicians. Then you rebutted that said you wasn't, and then turned around and explained how you are. That is your plan, that's what you want to do. And then you said that it was only going to be temporary, when just a second ago you said you wasn't doing it at all. See, and that be the problem when you guys say that you're not going to do something, right? That it's not in your plans at all, that Trump is lying, he's making up stuff, blah, 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 right? But then you go and check out and you actually listen to what you say. You go to explain that you actually are doing what Arnold Schwarzenegger just said that you're going to do, that your rebuttal was that you're not going to do. That's what you're explaining now. You're actually explaining what you said you wasn't going to do. Listen.
Because he's a threat to democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution.
One of your most vocal critics.
I think that Prop 50 is a big scam. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it says that we should fight Trump, and because he's a threat to democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution in California, get rid of the independent commission that draws the district lines, and take the power away from the people and give it back to the politicians.
What do you say to Governor Schwarzenegger, who says the fight for Prop 50 is just a big scam?
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all,
that guy Scotty Waddles checked in and said the Terminator, get to the chopper, for real. I mean, like, listen to what he said. He said that you're going to you want to erase the lines and take away the power from the people and give it to the politicians. Listen to his rebuttal. He literally said he's wrong, right? Listen.
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all, we're not throwing out the independent redistricting. We're affirming national independent redistricting. We're maintaining our current independent redistricting for statewide races, but in response to what happened in Texas, temporarily changing the maps for 3 cycles.
So you said he was wrong, and then you go on to proceed to explain how he was right. You just said you're going to change it temporarily. He just said you were going to change it. You said you wasn't, that he was wrong. You said he was wrong. Well, obviously he wasn't wrong, because now you're going on to explain how you're going to change it temporarily when you told him that he was wrong. So he was right. So you're lying. And this is what I'm talking about when I say, guys, I got a question for any of our parents in the house, any of you guys that are parents. If you ask your child, did they do their homework? And your child says yes. Then the next day, you get a letter, You get an email, you get a call from school saying that your child didn't do their homework. The next day when they come out, when you ask them again, did they do their homework, and they say yes, do you believe them or do you ask them to show you the homework? Because you already lied to me yesterday. You told me you did it yesterday, and school told me you didn't. You lied to me yesterday, so I can't trust you now. I need to explain. I need to check everything you saying. So Hakeem, we showed you Hakeem Jeffries lying, capping, big sombrero. We showed you this other dude capping. What was his name? I can't remember his name. I know it's Bernie Sanders, but it was somebody else. I can't remember his name. We showed you how these dudes is lying. Right? Now we're showing you Mr. Big Cap himself. Newscomb. Get in that chat section, man. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this content. Oh, man. Yo, I should have recorded that again. That's a whole nother thing right there. Yeah, I could have did a whole nother thing right there, man. So check it out, man. We're going to bring this back just a little bit.
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all, we're not throwing out the independent redistricting. We're affirming national independent redistricting. We're maintaining our current independent redistricting for statewide races, but in response to what happened in Texas, temporarily changing the maps for 3 cycles for the congressional races. It reverts then back to its original form, number one. Number two, the people are deciding. The maps are in the ballot. They're there in front of the voters in a way that have never been done in California or American history. So it's temporary, it's transparent, we maintain the commission, and we're responding to the crisis, not of our making, but the crisis that Donald Trump advanced, Greg Abbott, and other Republicans that don't believe in fair and free elections. They don't. Why else would they be moving in this unprecedented way?
And yet even some Democrats have expressed concerns about the overall redistricting efforts. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who opposes redistricting, says, quote, if you fight fire with fire long enough, all you're going to have left is ashes. Does he have a point there?
Well, we're going to have ashes as it relates to the sort of core tenets of our founding fathers. We may not have a republic next year. We're going to celebrate 250 years of what? I mean, look, I talked about this supine Congress. We've lost a co-equal branch of government. Speaker Johnson has no interest in oversight. He doesn't believe in any foundational recognition or oversight of that as the founding fathers advanced it. You've got courts that are increasingly indulgent, particularly on the emergency docket with the Supreme Court. We can lose this thing. This guy's not screwing around. Trump is not screwing around. He sent masked men when we kicked off this campaign. What appears to be at least a secret police. It appears that these guys have sworn an oath of office to him, not the Constitution of the United States. He's federalized the National Guard, still in the state of California, not just in other parts of the country, through Election Day and beyond. One thing I like about Steve Bannon.
You know what's crazy? In all these neighborhoods across America that had to deal with these crimes and these drive-bys and these shootings, people getting shot at, and all these stabbings and all these carjackings and all these robberies and all these home invasions and all these violent crimes, all these neighborhoods that are filled with drug addicts and all this craziness, right? That's what Trump is trying to clean up. But you, sir, you don't reside in none of them neighborhoods, sir. It's like you're more infatuated with how. Like, think about this, guys. Like, I really want you to think about this. These people are more infatuated with their perception than actually cleaning up the streets that they're allegedly responsible for. What's more important to you? Donald Trump cleaning up your streets or nobody cleaning up your street and you still got all this crime? What makes sense here? You hate our president so much that you're like, nah, I'd rather have crime on the street than have that guy end my crime rate. What? I guarantee you, you don't live in none of them neighborhoods. This is just like Sideshow Bob and Krusty the Clown over there in Chicago and Illinois. They're talking about they don't want the National Guard. Meanwhile, they don't live in these neighborhoods where all these shootouts are happening. Do you live over there in the Rollins, in that neighborhood where you got the rolling 20s, the rolling 40s, the rolling 60s? You got all the wild numbers, the rolling, however high it goes. I don't even know how high it goes. But I promise you, you don't live in that neighborhood. You don't live over there where Crenshaw and all that is. Where all the violent crime is happening, where all the gang members are, where the carjackings are happening, where the shootouts are happening, where all this shit is happening, I promise you, you don't live there. I promise you, you don't live. Just like that Sideshow Bob Krusty the Clown ass mayor and governor of Chicago, Illinois. Same thing with them two goofballs. Those two goofballs, same thing. Now we don't want Donald Trump to come over here and clear up the crime in our neighborhoods. Why would we ever want the crime to stop? Bro, are you the ones getting shot at? No, right? Are you living in the neighborhoods where people are getting shot or shot at? No, right? So then why are you against stopping crime in these neighborhoods? I thought you represented these neighborhoods. Or is it that you don't care because you don't sleep in them neighborhoods? Why wouldn't you want crime stopped in LA? Why? Why wouldn't you want crime stopped anywhere in your state? I bet you if you had people getting shot in front of your house, you would want the National Guard there. Go into any one of these ghettos, bro. And ask these people, how does it feel to have to bring your kid to their bus stop when just like 4 hours before that at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time, there was a mass shootout right where your kid's bus stop is, right outside your house. People be like, yo, that shit's been happening every day since they were kids. Ain't you tired of that? The only people that are not advocating against that are people who don't live in these neighborhoods. Why would you not want crime stopped in these neighborhoods unless you don't care because you don't live there? How much more sense does it make, ladies and gentlemen? Like, let's be honest, man. Like, let's be honest. I should have recorded all of that right there and made that a whole video, man. But I ain't record that. That be for the live features. You know what I mean? I don't like really putting that too much on record because I want you guys to get that when we're live. That's one of the benefits of being live, that you guys get to see it in real time. And like I said, man, salute to we gained the new follower earlier. We got 6 followers. I think we gained the follower on Twitch. We got 3 followers on Twitch. We got 6 followers on Kick. We're growing these platforms. Hit that follow button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, man. We're streaming on Rumble. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. And you already know, man, YouTube ain't fucking with us. YouTube got us blackballed. Pause. Now we got to play the pause on that. What's wrong with me?
If it's coming, why fear it? Embrace it.
Pause.
Monetize
Oh,
it.
God,
if it's coming, why fear it? Embrace it.
Big pause.
Monetize it.
Oh, God, that was
Big
crazy.
pause alert. Big pause.
Big pause. Big pause.
Big pause alerts. You know what I mean? Big pause alerts. You heard me? I just be trying to told y'all, man. Look, yo, just to show you how different I am for y'all watching, check this out. I got a little treat for y'all real quick. Hit that like button. See what I'm saying? I even give you a cartoon version of me, man. That's a cartoon version of me. You know what I'm trying to tell you, man? I am not like your normal content creator. As you can see by the layout, I'll give you a cartoon version of me dancing on your screen. Oh my God, man. That's for the donation money. That's when we get donations. That's just one of the songs. But that's a cartoon me, you heard? But please get in that chat section. Let me know, do you agree or disagree with what Newsom is saying?
Is he's honest. Steve Bannon was asked very clearly, ICE agents, masked agents around polling booths, is that a possibility? He said, damn right. I mean, he's saying the private thing out loud. These guys are not screwing around, and Donald Trump, of course, is now sent into a statewide election for a statewide constitutional amendment. He sent in the Department of Justice that are not needed and have no basis for coming in here, because this is all about a preview of 20.
So check it out. He's saying it's not needed, right? Like his state. Check it out. So let me put you on with something that happened in California. There was this dude out there called Big U, right? Allegedly, the movie Friday, remember Debo? That whole character, Debo, allegedly was around this dude called Big U. Big U just went back to jail. I think they're trying to hit him with a RICO, a couple bodies, some crazy shit, right? He had already been running shit down there, right? So now he had took money from the government to do like some help cleaning up the street type of shit. But he was still in the streets. Some people think that he's the one allegedly that put out the hit on Nip. Some people believe that. They're on the internet saying that. That's why I threw the allegedly on it, right? But he just got arrested behind a RICO and all kinds of orchestrated crazy gang shit. Mad people getting killed, cross the line, fed shit, all kinds of gang shit, right? You know what just happened the other day? One of his sons just got killed, like yesterday or the day before. Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that, bro. Imagine that. Imagine all these people that are using all these gang ties to this like giving all this negativity so much energy. Because everybody, this is why I said I don't do the gangs, bro. I don't advocate for that shit, bro. I don't. You know why, bro? Because I was locked up in prison a whole lot, B. A whole lot. I spent a lot of time in prison, man. And I seen the wildest shit when I was in there. I seen people call shots for other people to take that they would never take themselves in a million years. All right? Check it out. If you're my brother, I always want the best for you. At all times, I always only want the best for you. How is me putting drugs in your hand or me giving you a weapon and telling you to harm somebody manufacturing the best for you? How? That doesn't do it, bro. If these gangs, if they put you on a fast track to going to prison or a jail cell or a grave, when are these gangs, when are we going to start the same equivalent that's going to be putting these kids on a fast track to college and successful futures, successful careers? You know what I'm saying? Because normally I see a bunch of people who've been through the shit that I've been through that speak from the angle that I'm speaking from, because they endured the type of shit that I've endured. But then you get people like Young Thug that be talking all this wild shit, and then you find out that they all snitches too. All of them. All of them, bro. All of them. I told you, when you in the streets and you in the game, there's only one rule. There's only one rule. And there's only one character that can't be played. That's it. There's only one rule and one character that cannot be played. Granted, a lot of characters are frowned upon. Like, you could be a stick-up kid. You could be a grimy person. These are characters that are frowned upon, but you can't take... what you're not supposed to ever do is work with the cops. Remember that. The cops, derivative of that word is ops. Ops are the cops. Remember that. And the character you're never supposed to take up is that snitch. Because what you're doing is you're helping the opposition. We might be in competition, but that's our opposition. Now, you could be a stick-up kid. You could be a grimy... all those characters are in the game. Some are frowned upon, but those are still characters in the game. Remember, the game was created to get out of poverty. It wasn't created for time like now, where you got technology, you got different ways to create generational wealth. You didn't have these ways back in the days. So the rules were different. The game was different. The game was, bro, we got all these cops trying to arrest us and we're not getting jobs. We got to feed our families. That was the game. We got to feed our families. We got to feed our kids. That was the game. And who was trying to take away from, because remember, guys, the time we're talking, let's not forget where WIC came from. I don't know how many of you guys know that the Black Panther Party actually created the WIC program. That's what makes me laugh about all these Spanish-speaking people, that they be like, oh, we don't like black people and all this stupid shit. And then you turn around and you're benefiting from the exact program that the Black Panther Party created. The Black Panther Party created WIC. A lot of people don't even realize that. Remember that the structure of all this stuff, when it started, it wasn't what it is today. The only people that sold drugs back in the day were the real poor. Them people didn't get in the game. That's why that snitching shit, that didn't rock back in the day, because there were gatekeepers. There was somebody who knew, because the way it was looked upon, selling drugs was a secret method of how to get money. It was a secret, not a popularized method, a secret method. You know what I mean? And then now, everything changed. I tell people now, there's no need to break the law. You don't need to sell drugs. You don't need a weapon. You don't need none of that no more. People are like, what? I'm like, yo, bro, nowadays, people are becoming millionaires off their phones. They're like, what? I'm like, yo, I'm telling you. People, or you go get you a phone, an iPad, a tablet, a MacBook Pro, a laptop, a desktop, a MacBook Studio. You go get you a device. You go get you some internet service, bro. And I promise you, you can create generational wealth nowadays through the internet. You don't even got to go outside. There's a way to do it. There's different, bro. You could get on the internet and you could somehow or another talk to somebody across the world, right? And you could get involved in their stock market or whatever their trading method over there. You know what I mean? You could buy real estate on another side of a country. You could do all kinds of, there's different ways of investment and creation. There's different ways of doing this. You could provide a service. There's different ways now. Life, I tell people, life is easier now than it's ever been. But people, when you're stuck looking at the negative, that's what you're, in the Bible, it tells you, seek and you shall find. You keep looking for that negative. You keep thinking that negative. You keep talking that negative. Don't cry when that negative result finds you, because that's what you've been looking for. I'm a real positive person. I don't see negative. Right? So now, I said all that to say this. These are the three stooges, bro. Between this dude, Jenkins, and the other dude from that run Illinois, Sideshow Bob, Krusty the Clown, and this dude, these three dudes are clowns. You got a president that actively has a whole military that he's willing to use to clean up our American streets of crime. We are quick to send our soldiers overseas to clean up streets that are in other countries, but we won't use them to clean up our own streets? Or is it that you're so far removed from crime that you don't understand what it is to live in a crime-filled neighborhood? Because, yeah, a lot of us, we grew up poor. We used to break the law, but a lot of us got awareness now. And a lot of us don't want our kids to go through what we went through. A lot of us don't want our kids doing what we had to do. And part of that is cleaning up the streets of crime. And why wouldn't you want to take advantage of having a man? This is what I'm talking about when I tell you about this Sideshow Bob, Krusty the Clown, and this dude. No, so these three stooges ass dude. You're making decisions over neighborhoods that you don't reside in. They don't reside, Jenkins, you don't reside in old block where people are getting shot at 1,000 times a day. You don't live there. You don't live there. But you say, nah, my streets are fine. But you don't live in those streets. You don't sleep in them neighborhoods. Go sleep in that neighborhood for like 2 or 3 years with no security. Don't tell the cops. Don't tell nobody that you're staying in them apartments. Act like you're a normal person. Deal with the same consequences and environment that everybody else is dealing with. You're talking for a neighborhood and a situation and a circumstance that you don't endure, that you're not going through, that you're not living. You go into probably your gated neighborhood, into your multi-million-dollar household, and that's awesome sauce, bro. But everybody ain't got that. And you're talking about neighborhoods that got to deal with shootings every day, that you don't want those neighborhoods to have. Yo, I was on YouTube, right? And I forget the name of the park over there in Chicago. There's a park over there. Damn it. They used to say the name of the park. I don't think it's Echo Park. I think that's California. There was a park over there. I forget. The shit get loose. It gets shaky. They make it happen. It's wild over there, right? And he lived right around that area. And he was talking about how he was young. Shit was crazy, right? But you know what happened? He grew up. What I mean is, he got 3 daughters. And he talks about how now it's not the same bringing his daughters through these neighborhoods where all these shootings be happening because he got to bring them to school. It's like it's not hitting the same. It's not the same now. And that's what I'm talking about. You got a bunch of people that used to run the streets that are now parents that are like, hold up, bro. Like, we're in 2025. We shouldn't still be acting like this the Wild Wild West. How that work? Humble Park. There you go. Scotty Waddle's checking in on kick. Correct. Humble Park. I've had about 3 or 4 people on my YouTube platform that live in Humble Park, live right in that area, grew up, and they still was in Chicago. I've had a lot Spanish speaking and black people that that their nationalities or their races don't get along with each other in those neighborhoods, right? But both of them people were talking the same. They were saying the same shit, but they were using different words. They were tired of the gun violence. They were tired of the shootouts. They were tired of that shit. And they wanted a change. They wanted a change. And now you have a president that has a military that's willing to be the plow truck to barrel through that shit and to start to clear it out. And your sucker ass doesn't want the assistance, even though you don't live in these neighborhoods. It's not your cousins getting killed. It's not your nephews getting killed. It's not what's happening. It's not your parents. It's not your friends. It's not the people you grew up with. It's not your classmates. It's not your co-workers. It's not your neighbors. Because you probably live in a gated multi-million-dollar neighborhood, and that's awesome sauce. But you need to give this assistance to these crime-filled neighborhoods so that shit can get cleaned up. What are you talking about, bro? I'm sorry I just went on that rant. I apologize, but the shit just don't make sense to me. Imagine somebody who don't live in your neighborhood talking about, no, your neighborhood doesn't need assistance getting help, but they don't live in your neighborhood. Why wouldn't you want the military to go clean up these streets of all this gang violence? Clean all that shit up, bro. Pack that shit up already. You know what I mean? You don't want your kids to deal with it, right? You don't want your grandkids to deal with it, right? So why are you exploiting it? Why are you doing it? That's how you got to start talking. That's the only thing that started clicking to me. I didn't want to deal with it, so why was I doing it? Why am I still interacting with people that live that life? I'm good with that. That shit ain't gonna leave me nowhere but prison. I spent the majority of my life in there. I don't advocate for that. Nah, that shit was trash. Super garbage. I didn't do no field trips, no school dances, none of that shit. I was in prison. I got my diploma in there, everything. That shit was garbage. The wackest. I don't advocate for nobody to do no shit like that. And until these gangs start advocating on a railroad track, on a fast track to college, I don't advocate for gangs. I don't. I see more negative results than positive results with gang members. You got 1,000 gang members, maybe 2 of them will make it out. That means 90+% of them don't. That's bad numbers. Switch that up. That whole environment got to change. Everything about that got the whole structure, the belief system, who's in charge, all of that got to change. The paradigm has to, you can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. You're doing the same. That's why I stay positive. I said this earlier, man. I started today's live line. I started today's day like this. I did a short and I posted it on my Facebook, right? I said this time last year, right? When you guys was out there trick-or-treating, I was in the hospital dying. I'm not capping. This is a fact. This time last year, I had been in the hospital for about 30 days. I was about to have 2 surgeries in less than 18 hours. They didn't think I was going to make it through the night. They told me to call my family. Nobody pulled up. Nobody answered the phone. The only people that answered was my mother and my father. None of my friends, none of my cousins, nobody. This time last year, when you were trick-or-treating, I was what's called a PICC line. A PICC line is an IV that goes in through your bicep and comes out through your heart. The strongest IV. So if they're gonna give you that medication that you go, they hit you with it through the PICC line and it goes through your heart and it pumps out through your whole body. Everybody on my floor that I was on, people were dying. My roommate died in the middle of the night. They didn't think I was gonna make it. This time last year, I was in a hospital dying. This is a fact. This is why everything is always positive. No negative energy, no negative thinking, no negative conversation, no negative interactions. It's talking to you an asset or a liability to me. Everything is always positive. I know the negative. I became a Hall of Famer at doing negative. I spent more time in prison than I did out. I don't advocate for that shit. Trash. It's just dumb as hell. So no, I don't advocate for gang members. I don't advocate for none of that whack shit. Because all that shit is going to do is lead your child to the penitentiary, which is where you don't even want to be. So why advocate for that? So I use the asset liability ratio, even topics. So everything with me is always positive. And I always thank the Most High because God put me in this situation. God put me in front of you to bring this content. God put me in this situation to help me bring this information. God helped me. God did this. The Most High put me in front of you. I'm not capping. The Most High asked me to bring awareness and talk and I guess share my story and be the example because I went through it so you don't have to. I did the law breaking and I can tell you the results so you don't have to. So you can make a better decision and you could get a better result than I got. Let me be the example that you don't have to live through. And that's the message I try to give everybody around me. Let me be the example that you don't have to live through. I endured it. I perfected it. I mastered that shit. I am one of them people that told the parole board, the SMD, to suck my... I said that to a parole board and wardens in prison. I've done that. I'm telling you. I'm talking about... When I tell you ignorant, I was the boss of all bosses when it comes to that ignorant shit. I don't advocate for it at all, not even a little bit. Because all that's going to do is get you a negative result. And that's going to hurt you and your loved ones. This is the things that they don't talk to you about. Because you want to be Mr. Independent, guess what? The moment you in jail, you Mr. All Dependent. Capital D, you're dependent. You got to depend on everybody else. You got to depend on your people to pick up the phone. You got to depend on your people to send you money. You are dependent now. So how does that even make sense? You trying to be the ultimate independent leads you to be the ultimate dependent. This shit don't make sense. So no, I don't advocate for no street shit. I advocate for you to conjure up the picture of something positive and put it in your first eye. Your first eye. They like to call that shit your third eye. That's your first eye. One is before two, right? If one is before two, how is that your third eye? Think about that. If one is before two, how is that your third eye? That's your first eye. These are your second eyes. You see it in your mind first. So that make your mind's eye your first eye. Your mind's eye is your first eye, and these two are your second eye. So as long as you can see it in your mind's eye, put some energy behind something positive. Fuck all that negative shit. And now you actually have a president that's trying to clean up your streets. Or is it you don't care because those ain't your streets? Because in the multi-million-dollar mansion neighborhoods you live in, there is no crime. Think about that. Get in that chat section, man. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this content.
2026. And I assure you, what I said in
democracy. But in the meantime, they want to go and tear up the Constitution in California, get rid of the independent commission that draws the district lines and take the power away from the people and give it back to the politicians.
What do you say to Governor Schwarzenegger, who says the fight for Prop 50 is just a big scam?
Well, former Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's in all the Republican ads, is wrong on a number of points that he just made. First of all, we're not throwing out the independent redistricting. We're affirming national independent redistricting. We're maintaining our current independent redistricting for statewide races, but in response to what happened in Texas, temporarily changing the maps for 3 cycles for the congressional races. It reverts then back to its original form, number one. Number two, the people are deciding. The maps are in the ballot. They're there in front of the voters in a way that have never been done in California or American history. So it's temporary, it's transparent, we maintain the commission, and we're responding to the crisis, not of our making, but the crisis that Donald Trump advanced, Greg Abbott, and other Republicans that don't believe in fair and free elections. They don't. Why else would they be moving in this unprecedented way?
And yet even some Democrats have expressed concerns about the overall redistricting efforts. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who opposes redistricting, says, quote, if you fight fire with fire long enough, all you're going to have left is ashes. Does he have a point there?
Well, we're going to have ashes as it relates to the sort of core tenets of our founding fathers. We may not have a republic next year. We're going to celebrate 250 years of what? I mean, look, I talked about this supine Congress. We've lost a co-equal branch of government. Speaker Johnson has no interest in oversight. He doesn't believe in any foundational recognition or oversight of that as the founding fathers advanced it. You've got courts that are increasingly indulgent, particularly on the emergency docket with the Supreme Court. We can lose this thing. This guy's not screwing around. Trump is not screwing around. He sent masked men when we kicked off this campaign. What appears to be at least a secret police. It appears that these guys have sworn an oath of office to him, not the Constitution of the United States. He's federalized the National Guard, still in the state of California, not just in other parts of the country, through Election Day and beyond. One thing I like about Steve Bannon is he's honest. Steve Bannon was asked very clearly, ICE agents, masked agents around polling booths, is that a possibility? He said, damn right. I mean, he's saying the private thing out loud. These guys are not screwing around, and Donald Trump, of course, is now sent into a statewide election for a statewide constitutional amendment. He sent in the Department of Justice that are not needed and have no basis for coming in here, because this is all about a preview of 2026. And I assure you, what I said in June came true as it relates to the National Guard. It was a preview of things to come. Said the same thing with ICE. I can assure you you're going to see more of that around voter suppression, and you watch the abuse of this Department of Justice, which appears now to be his, not the American people.
We're going to unpack everything that you just said, but you mentioned 2026. And part of your redistricting fight is to give Democrats a better chance to take back the House in 2026. You've said if they can do that, then the Trump presidency is over. But the Trump presidency would last for another 2 years. So what exactly does that mean? How would the Trump presidency be over when he would still be in office?
It's over as we know it.
How?
Because we finally have restored a co-equal branch of government. They have subpoena power. They'll hold hearings. They can actually do something about congressionally approved appropriations that the President of the United States and Russ Vought can give a damn about and can decide where to go and move it. There'll be fire and fury, but it will signify substantially less because we'll finally have a co-equal branch of government. So the Trump presidency as we know it from my perspective, will be over if we're successful in 2026. That's why Trump is trying. He understands the clock. He said that he's all but acknowledged this. This is not particularly revelatory. He understands what's at stake. He was on the receiving end of oversight in his first term. He knows what's coming, and that's why he wants to rig the game.
Is part of what you're saying that you would advocate for a third impeachment of
I'm not. I
President
didn't
Trump?
say that at all. Quite the contrary. I advocate for oversight. I advocate for the rule of law, not the rule of dawn. I advocate for the historic principles of our founding fathers, popular sovereignty, this notion of the rule of law and co-equal branches of government. I fundamentally believe in those principles. Donald Trump clearly does not.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins here with my dear friend Dean Graziosi. Listen, I want to call your...
So think about it like this. He's saying Trump don't follow no rules when, think about it. Trump is like, yo, bro, we need to clean up the streets of your state. We got to clean up the crime. And you're saying no. You're acting like you're advocating for the crime. You're acting like you're part of the crime. And if you're part of the crime, you know what that means, right? That means if you're part of the crime, we got to treat you like the criminal.
He's all but acknowledged this. This is not particularly revelatory. He understands what's at stake. He was on the receiving end of oversight in his first term. He knows what's coming, and that's why he wants to rig the game.
Is part of what you're saying that you would advocate for a third impeachment of
I'm not. I
President
didn't
Trump?
say that at all. Quite the contrary. I advocate for oversight. I advocate for the rule of law, not the rule of dawn. I advocate for the historic principles of our founding fathers, popular sovereignty, this notion of the rule of law and co-equal branches of government. I fundamentally believe in those principles. Donald Trump clearly does not.
Sticking with your fight against President Trump, he has been asked repeatedly about this idea of would he somehow try to seek a third term, despite the fact that it is barred by the Constitution. He's wavered in his answer, but in comments this week, he said, quote, "It's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run." Do you take President Trump at his word when he says that?
Where, have you gotten his tax returns he promised? I mean, can we go through the list? Come on. No, of course no one should. No one does. No one even supports him, Will. What he's doing, once a mind is stretched, it never goes back to its original form. He throws things out. He did this to me when I was in the Oval Office for 90 minutes with him. And he was joking about a fourth term because I looked behind me and there was FDR's portrait. And we're perfect little sheep. I understand that. I said this the other day and I really believe it. I mean, there's an old French poem that says he pisses on the grasshoppers to hear them sing. That's Donald Trump. He knows exactly. He's trolling people. At the same time, once that mind is stretched, it doesn't go back to the original form. Tommy Tuberville, a member of the United States Supreme Court, who seemed to have at least partially opened the door to this conversation. Steve Bannon, again, very honest, straightforward about what he hopes to see accomplished with the MAGA movement and with the Donald Trump presidency. So I don't put it past him. Here's the reason I'm not deeply anxious about it. I think his reign will be measured in years, not decades. For one thing, infirmity, time of life. He's getting older, he's slowing down. Physically, he's not the same person. I don't think this. My interactions with him really bear fruit to that.
Listen to the way he talking, bro. He talking like one of them evil villains that he's like, yo, he's not even healthy, this and this and that. Mind you, Donald Trump is only bringing America more money. So all he's doing is putting more money. He wants us to have more money in our pockets. These dudes, this is the reason why. What you're listening to right now, this is the reason why them California streets are filled with crime. This is why. Donald Trump wants to bring the military to clean up all the crime in California. This is why, if you live in California, this is the reason why your neighborhoods will never get clean with crime. Listen to the way he talks about Donald Trump, which is the person that wants to send the military to California to clean up all that crime, all them gang murders, all them gang shit. You know how many people that are successful that say they can't even wear their own jewelry to certain locations because that might get them assaulted, that might get them robbed. You know how many successful people that's keeping out of certain locations? Imagine you get a successful person bringing a successful company to create something in the ghetto. Now everybody in that neighborhood got more opportunity. You get what I mean? You got more options to live a prosperous, positive life. You got more opportunities. One person come, another person gonna come. It's gonna attract. You know what I mean? Like minds attract. You're going to start attracting more successful people that are going to want to create businesses, create financial generational earthquakes, shaking shit up where it wasn't before. But instead, since you don't live in these neighborhoods, you don't want Donald Trump's military help to clean up the crime because you don't care, because you don't live there. You don't deal with the crime firsthand. And I'm guessing you must make money off of it by allocating overtime this, more cops that. You need more money for it. Topic for another conversation. I was going to go somewhere else. I don't think you guys ready for that conversation yet. People wasn't ready on YouTube when I was doing over 100,000 views for that. You know what I mean? Some people just ain't ready for that yet. But keep sticking around, man, because we just started streaming like this. This is like our second week streaming to 6 platforms. We're streaming in vertical and horizontal at the same time. Yeah, you heard me. We're streaming in vertical for your phone and horizontal for your TV. We're on 6 different platforms, all one stream. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that follow button. I don't care what platform you on, man. Let's go.
As a government, I fundamentally believe in those principles. Donald Trump clearly does not.
Sticking with your fight against President Trump, he has been asked repeatedly about this idea of would he somehow try to seek a third term, despite the fact that it is barred by the Constitution. He's wavered in his answer, but in comments this week, he said, quote, "It's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run." Do you take President Trump at his word when he says that?
Where, have you gotten his tax returns he promised? I mean, can we go through the list? Come on. No, of course no one should. No one does. No one even supports him, Will. What he's doing, once a mind is stretched, it never goes back to its original form. He throws things out. He did this to me when I was in the Oval Office for 90 minutes with him. And he was joking about a 4th term because I looked behind me and there was FDR's portrait. And we're perfect little sheep. I understand that. I said this the other day, and I really believe it. I mean, there's an old French poem that says he pisses on the grasshoppers to hear them sing. That's Donald Trump. He knows exactly. He's trolling people. At the same time, once that mind is stretched, it doesn't go back to the original form. Tommy Tuberville, a member of the United States Supreme Court, who seemed to have at least partially opened the door to this conversation. Steve Bannon, again, very honest, straightforward about what he hopes to see accomplished with the MAGA movement and with the Donald Trump presidency. So I don't put it past him. Here's the reason I'm not deeply anxious about it. I think his reign will be measured in years, not decades. For one thing, infirmity, time of life. He's getting older. He's slowing down. Physically, he's not the same person. I don't think this. My interactions with him really bear fruit to that claim. And so that's the only saving grace in this context. But free, fair elections, that's a whole separate conversation, and how he can manipulate that outcome. And that's a different type of third term that we should watch.
Well, to that point, you've gone so far as to question whether the United States will have elections in 2028. What exactly are you basing that on? What would that look like?
When you send masked men, secret police, to the Democracy Center when we kick off a campaign, that's in response to election rigging along the lines of the 12,000 votes he was looking for in Georgia, along the lines of the democracy he tried to wreck and light on fire after January 6th, along the lines of his own assertions, actions, And the fact that now he's federalizing and militarizing American streets with the United States military, I think he starts to stack these things up and it leaves a breadcrumb trail that should scare the hell out of everybody watching. I do not say this lightly. I don't believe he believes in fair and free elections. I don't. And I think people need to wake up to that and take this moment seriously. Good people can disagree, but I'm telling you, we've seen this. We've seen this act. I'm on the receiving end, California, of Donald Trump and his antics to a disproportionate degree of any other state. They are not screwing around.
Well, speaking of how he's using his authority, I do want to get your reaction to President Trump announcing that he plans to resume nuclear weapons testing for the first time in 30 years in the face of perceived threats by Russia and China. Do you think President Trump would actually use a nuclear weapon?
He doesn't even know. He said the Pentagon should do it. Wake up, Mr. President. I know he may have jet lag. It's the Department of Energy. He doesn't even know which agency is responsible for that. He may want to learn about computational capacity, the Department of Energy, to test this technology. And may want to look back in the record books, to your point, 1992, since the last time we did. Look, this is weakness masquerading in strength. This is classic Trump and Trumpism. This guy is historically weak. And these are acts of a weak person that is trying to appear strong. It has the form and substance of fog. You even heard representatives of the Trump administration tried to digest and explain this, and they couldn't even do it. So, look, I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. Watching the President of the United States in front of Xi, we're good. I mean, he was negotiating away this country in the first 5 minutes of the photo op. He came back with nothing. He got played by President Xi.
He says he got a good deal.
He said that. How many trade deals? 90 in 90 days? How many have you read and reviewed? How many have been signed? 0. His policy is press release. And the fact that you and I will be paying more for toys this Christmas, and we are already paying more for Halloween, bears truth to my assertion of the recklessness of his policies. He's wrecking this country. The jobs market is weak.
You see where he stands with? You heard what he said? He said, you and me are going to be paying more for toys than we did candy for Halloween. Listen.
Photo op. He came back with nothing. He got played by President Xi.
He says he got a good deal.
He said that. How many trade deals? 90 in 90 days? How many have you read and reviewed? How many have been signed? 0. His policy is press release. And the fact that you and I will be paying more for toys this Christmas, and we are already paying more for Halloween.
You know, people are actually worried about not even being able to feed their families for Thanksgiving, and you're talking about toys for Christmas? Remember what I told you, that these people are so far out of touch? They're not in the ghettos, bro. They're not in the neighborhoods. They're not dealing with the same situations we're dealing with. He's talking about paying more for toys on Christmas when people are worried about feeding their families tomorrow. Remember what I told you? These guys, yo, he's in a multi-million-dollar household. He's in a gated community. You're not, yo, bro, come on, man. You out of pocket. You out of pocket. You bugging. Donald Trump is trying to clean up the crime from all your low economic areas that you don't even go to. Come on, man.
Bears truth to my assertion of the recklessness of his policies. He's wrecking this country. The jobs market is weak. Inflation is starting to creep back up. This is unprecedented to see in such a short period of time this kind of destruction to the progress we were experiencing that he inherited.
Just to go back to my question, though, do you think he would actually use a nuclear weapon, Governor?
No, it's interesting. I've had 1 or 2 private conversations with him where he actually calmed me a little bit talking about nuclear weapons. So I don't believe that. It's Rabel's. It's, again, he's trying to masquerade as a patriot, trying to masquerade. He's trying to overcompensate to be a tough guy. The only guy who's been doing this is Kim Jong-un. I mean, so the whole thing is, it's performative from my perspective. Then again, trust but verify that he doesn't begin to make some errant mistakes and we walk down a path of no return. It scares the hell out of me to start, talking about these kind of things. But hopefully cooler heads will prevail, because again, he didn't even know what he said and what he was talking about on the basis of what his own administration has said, he said, and talking about.
One of the biggest battles you're having with him is your fight over the deployment of U.S. troops to cities across this country, including here in California. Do you trust the Justice Department to handle these cases?
Absolutely not.
You don't trust the Justice Department?
Are you kidding? It's a personal
Do you trust
attorney.
the legal system?
I have
to handle
confidence
these
in the
cases
lower
over
courts,
troops?
and I'm holding.
Why are you so against cleaning up crime in the cities that you represent? Why are you so against cleaning up the crime in the state that you represent? Why are you against that? Remember what I told you guys. What do you're more, how do you say, you're more obsessed with your reputation instead of the result. He would much rather his streets run wild with crime than receive military assistance from Trump and crime rates drop. Imagine that. Who has to deal with that? All the low-income families. Not him. He don't live in the neighborhoods where these crimes is happening, but he's making decisions that affect neighborhoods and people that live in neighborhoods that he doesn't live in. This is why I say he's just like Sideshow Bob and Krusty the Clown over there. Because they're making decisions over neighborhoods that they do not reside in. They don't reside in these hoods that are having these shootouts, these carjackings, these unalivings, all this crime. They don't live in those neighborhoods where all these crime is happening. But they're making decisions over the neighborhoods that keep crime going. Who advocates for crime nowadays? Who would even ever advocate for crime? Like, I really want you to think about that. Crime? Come on, man. Get in that chat section, let me know. Do you guys think he's running around LA where all this crime is happening? Do you think he's just pulling up to the Roscoe's where what's this dude's name from Philly got killed? The rapper PMG or PNG, I forget his name. He was at a chicken spot. The dude and his father. Think about that. A dude and his son robbed this artist, a rapper. You know what I mean? And shot him and unalived him at a chicken spot, at a Roscoe's Chicken. This dude is a rapper. You know how much money he could have been bringing over there? Just by him being their customers, but you got this crime running rampant. That's your business is not going to succeed. So my question is, are you with the law breaking? Are you part of the crime? Because everything that I always see is always some type of LA offense. Like, how did Big U get these government contracts? Everybody know who Big U is, bro. This is no alleged. He had government contracts. He was getting paid by the government for some government-funded program to help kids in the ghettos. How did he get those? How did somebody that's about to be on trial for RICO and murder have federally funded programs funding him? The government was funding him. And I forget if it was state or federal, but nevertheless, at that point, you and all of y'all gonna have to sign off for somebody who used to run a gang in prison. Are you part of the crime over there, Newsom? Are you like one of the top level bosses allegedly in that crime over there? Because why would you be advocating for crime not to be stopped in neighborhoods that you don't live in? That just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm holding hope that there's one co-equal branch of government left, and that's the judiciary. But again, not on the basis of the shadow docket in the U.S. Supreme Court, but the courts, the lower courts, the federal courts have held pretty strong. And so I'm hopeful it's the last institution standing. Again, he's assaulting all institutions that stand in his way. And obviously, I mentioned the 1/3 of the decisions that he appears to have dismissed. The courts are one of the most powerful and potent, so I'm hopeful, but I'm not naive. Posse comitatus, it's not complicated. You cannot use the United States military for domestic law enforcement. He just announced he will be sending out strike teams, and he'll be organizing in every state these strike teams. Wake up. What the hell do we need to tell people that to get them off their...
Why would you want crime cleaned up in your... Have you ever grew up in a house where people were getting shot right next door? I guarantee you he's never growing up in no neighborhood like that. If he goes through there, he's gonna have hella security, hella cars, hella security all around him. That's not the same environment. You're not dealing with what the people that live in them neighborhoods every day, people where their bus stops or where shootouts happens. You don't know what that life is like, but you're making decisions that affect people that live in those neighborhoods that are tired of growing up and their best friends getting killed. People they know getting killed. People they don't know getting killed. It doesn't matter. People are tired of the crime, bro. Crime that you didn't deal with. Crime that you're not dealing with still.
Their couch to say, well, hold on. I may have liked his bluster. I may not have liked the last guy, but I didn't sign up for this.
You take me to my next question. What are you prepared as governor to do about those strike teams that are reported?
Well, we're doing everything in our power. We're using our moral authority. We're using our formal authority. Prop 50 is about formal authority. It's about something substantive. I'm trying to communicate differently. I'm trying to be more clear and concise in terms of my feelings about things, more accountable to this moment. At the same time, we're using the courts, back to your original question. I think it's 44 lawsuits in just 41 weeks of this administration. Not one we wanted to file, but we needed to file in response to this unprecedented assault. And by the way, we continue, including the Posse Comitatus case and other cases, we continue to win in lower court decisions. And we're waiting for the 7th Circuit, we're waiting for the 9th Circuit out here in Portland, out here in California, and we're waiting ultimately for where the Supreme Court lands on this question of federalization of the National Guard and militarization of American cities.
Let's talk about your relationship with President Trump. Back in 2023, you said on this broadcast, quote, by definition, you would need to work with President Trump if he were reelected.
Yep.
And you even hugged the president back in January when he came to visit in the wake of the wildfires here.
It wasn't much of a hug, but I appreciate that.
Okay. Have you now, Governor, given up on working with President Trump?
I've always have an open hand, not a closed fist. I revere the institution of the president. I revere that office. I'll pick up the phone if he called in a nanosecond. I will. I'll work with anyone that wants to work in a constructive manner. That's why I went out to the tarmac, as you refer. That's why I went to the White House and the Oval Office. I think I was the first Democratic governor to do that. That's why I worked with this president in Trump 1.0 as it relates to COVID as well, or better than most Democratic governors. I don't seek to put sand in his gears, but I do seek to stand tall on principle and push back against overreach and against an assault on institutions and people that are feeling fearful, communities that are on edge. And I represent a state, the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. And there's no state that's been more impacted by his assault, racially profiling people, going out streets, literally disappearing people that are walking their dogs or going to school.
When's the last time you spoke with President
It's been a few months.
What was that
It was after he
conversation?
federalized the National Guard, after we had a 16 or 19-minute conversation where he didn't even bring it up and then lied about it the next day. 4,000 members of my National Guard were federalized. 700 active duty Marines were not sent overseas. Were sent to the second largest city in the United States of America. Hundreds are still sitting there. $100+ million of taxpayer money wasted for nothing but pageantry. This is what we're up against, and I hope, again, people are clear about the stakes.
You have been one of the most outspoken Democratic voices against President Trump, and part of your tactic is to imitate some of what we see online from President Trump. So you mimic his all-cap posts, you send out similar memes. Do you run the risk of normalizing that behavior?
Quite the contrary. The whole expression was to not allow it to be normalized. It was becoming normalized. All this, the normalization of deviancy across the spectrum of issues, but his communication, he's dressing up as the Pope, as Superman. Hold on, he's putting his face on Mount Rushmore. He's saying, thank you. It's madness. And so I put a mirror up to that madness. And the wonderful thing about it is folks in different networks, they were appalled. A young man, the governor out there, should wash his mouth out with soap. His wife needs to intervene. Well, where the hell have you been? About the president of the United States who's acting like a child. So exactly the opposite. The reason I'm doing that is to put this mirror up.
It reminds me of something Michelle Obama said once: when they go low, we go high. Is there still room for that mindset?
I would love to go back to that, but politics have changed. The world's changed. The rules of the game have changed. Now we have to rewrite the new rules. I'm trying to iterate. I'm in that process of doing that. But Michelle Obama also recently was interviewed about that comment, and she amended that comment about going high is also going strategic, meaning finding strategies to address concerns and anxieties. So she's evolved on her own foundational principle, but it's the right one. We're all better off, and we're all better off. This can't continue forever. All of us living in the state of fear and anxiety, on edge. And so, of course, we want to go back to some semblance of normalcy. But you have to deal with the crisis at hand. It's just been 10, 11 months of this presidency. We have 3 more years. Time to batten down the hatches, and it's time for us to change if we want things to change. And that's why our communication strategy has shifted. That's why Prop 50 is shifted the conversation here in California, and I think will shift the debate going into 2026 as a consequence of our success. And I think we, as a party, have become more unified, and I think more aligned on what's at stake.
I want to talk to you about the polarization, that very issue in this country, because you have reached across the aisle. In fact, in your first episode of your podcast, you invited conservative activist Charlie Kirk to join you for a conversation. He was, of course, assassinated in September. Why did you want to speak to Charlie Kirk?
Because success leaves clues. He was organizing on the campuses. He was successful at getting out the vote. He has a voice, a huge voice, an outsized voice in the MAGA movement. And I talked to Democratic friends and allies, and they weren't familiar with him. And I asked about what exists in the Democratic Party? What are we doing about it? He was, to his credit, kind enough to fly out and sit down with me. We talked about our wives. We talked about our kids. We talked about the future of this country, vehemently different points of view. I mean, it's like daylight and darkness in terms of the contrast, the component. We stayed in touch a little bit. And I just think that's healthy. And I know people, some folks on my party were offended by it. You've platformed by it. I had 0 downloads on my podcast. So who platformed who? But I did the same with Bannon. I did the same thing with Newt Gingrich, who helped lead my recall campaign. I've done that with Sean Spicer, people on the other side, because at the end of the day, divorce is not an option. And everyone wants to be loved. Everyone needs to be loved. All of us need to be protected, respected, connected. And if we can find that, we can find our way out of this. So I think it's important, as we're going back and forth and we're holding the line, we're drawing new lines, we're standing tall and firm on our values, that we also find ways, pathways back to a semblance of commonwealth, of commonality, of humanity. And that's what that represents.
Well, part of this and part of the backdrop to this is an increase in political violence, targeting Republicans, targeting Democrats. What role do leaders like yourself have in turning down the temperature?
We got to call that out. It sickens you to your core. I mean, talk about weakness. I mean, violence solves for nothing. And so it just needs to be called out, period, full stop. Not exploited by anybody. Forget politics here. How can anybody condone violent acts And those I remember getting a call from my son after Charlie was shot, and he asked me as if I would know, did he die? And full disclosure, I sent a text to him, wishing for his recovery. Little did I know. I'm rather humiliated. I haven't shared that. As a human being, my son is not a fan of his, but knew of him. And it impacted him, and he was on a speakerphone. He's a young kid at school. It impacted a lot of folks. And I think about my son at that moment. I think that's something he'll never forget. His generation won't forget. So this is God bless. I literally I pray for him. And little did I know, he probably had already passed away. And so grace, when President Trump was shot, unconscionable, unacceptable, called it out with clarity and conviction. I didn't like on the other side with respect, and this is not other sideism, but there was not that same kind of humanity that was expressed when Paul Pelosi was attacked. There was a lot of, sort of mockery around that. And there's certainly mockery from the left about Charlie Kirk, which was wrong. So all of that needs to be called out. We're all in this together. And so I think, again, we can go back and forth. That's why I say open hand, not a closed fist. The President of the United States calls him and answer the call. And respect the office, even if I disagree fundamentally with the individual in that office.
You've been very forceful about.
I'm a doctor, and my passion is to alleviate arthritis pain using nothing.
But you know what's crazy? Strategically speaking, right? If you say that's what you're about and you're not about the person, you need to be about the result and not the person. Because the military going over there is going to clean up the crime in your state. That means less people getting killed, less people going to prison, less people being affected in a negative way. That's what you need to be thinking about. And why are you against that? You see the people in Memphis, a lot of that crime's gone down.
The violence, the rhetoric. Do you ever grow concerned that engaging in any type of heated rhetoric, when you talk about fighting fire with fire, that could undercut efforts to try to bring people together in this moment?
Yeah, look, you got to deal with the cards that are dealt. And the reality is we have to be firm, and we have to assert ourselves at peril we lose this republic. We'll lose our democracy. I really believe that. And so we have to be clear. We have to be precise. We have to be, I think, more surgical in terms of our approach. I think narrative matters. And to the extent that we have to elevate with clarity and conviction some of that rhetoric, we can do so cautiously, but I think strategically. But I get your point. I understand that deeper point. But the other side, Donald Trump would like nothing more than for all of us to step down. And then maybe I can hold a candlelight vigil and say, boy, it's just so unfair that Donald Trump is out there rigging the next election. He's in 6 states, and now he's got a 16, 17 vote margin. And, boy, gosh darn, I really wish he was better. And maybe I'd get an op-ed in the Washington Post, and everyone would sit there and say, boy, you were really right. Meanwhile, this guy's consolidating power. And again, I really believe we may not have another fee and fair.
So I don't understand. You calling him a king, you're saying that he does what he want to do, and then you turn around and said that he's weak, that these are the actions of a weak man, that he's old, that he doesn't have the same mind that he used to, his health ain't the same, he's a weak man, he doesn't know what he's doing. Now you say he's consolidating power. What is it, bro? What is it, bro? You know what I mean? You're on both sides. Is he weak, or is he a powerful man that's doing whatever he wants? You said he's a king. That's what y'all got over there, the No Kings protest. So y'all are saying he's kings, that he does whatever he wants. But then you say he's a weak man. He got no power. He has no health. His mind ain't the same. Now you're saying he's convoluting. What is it, bro? You sounded like a hater to me. You sound like you wish you were him. That's what you sound like. You sounded like you wish you were him.
Free and fair election if we don't wake up to that.
Let's talk a little bit about your future, the future of the Democratic Party. You have been very clear that, yes, you are considering a potential run for president in 2028. I think it's fair to say that anyone who decides to run in 2028, including former President Biden's surrogates are going to have to answer questions about what they did and what they said in 2024 around President Biden's presidency. You stood by him till the end after that disastrous debate performance, even when top Democrats were calling for him to step down. Did you ever have concerns, Governor, about his capacity
I go home
to
with the
serve
one.
another 4 years?
No, I never had that direct. I just talked to the president a few hours ago. I've been privileged to have a relationship with the president. I spent almost 2 hours with him in December, right before, during the transition in the Oval Office. And my experience, his expression, gave me no pause, no doubt. Let me finish. I was proud to stand there, proud to make the case for 15.4 million jobs, proud to make the case for the CHIPS and Science Act, the industrial policy that was worker-centered, proud to make the case for an infrastructure package that actually delivered a real bill and is delivering real jobs all across this country. Proud to stand tall as he was a counter-prevailing point to President Xi and what they're doing in low-carbon green growth and how they're going to dominate the future as it relates to green energy. And he was a counter-prevailing point. I was proud of the fact that he supported 400 bipartisan bills. It did more for vets and has started to address the issue of gun violence. I was proud of that legislative package of accomplishments. The one exception as it relates to the interaction I had with him that gave me pause, one, was the fundraiser in Southern California. And all of us were a little taken aback, but we also were mindful that he had been to Europe twice in about a week, and for the grace of God, go any of us with jet lag and being exhausted. That person came back on that debate night, and that certainly gave all of us pause.
If it gave you pause after the debate, why didn't you sound the alarm then?
I did privately, we with grace and humility. He was going to make the right decision. And so for me, it wasn't my job to go out there. My job was to let him, give him the space. I just have a different, good people can disagree. I have a different approach to all of this. And I lost my father. I lost him right around election for governor. He survived just to see me elected. So many of the attributes of my father I remember. He reminds me so much. I'll be candid with you. This is me speaking as a human being. Reminds me of Joe Biden. I wasn't going to do that to him. He was going to make the right decision, and he did. Question is the timing, okay. But the bottom line, I was proud and continue to be proud to make a case for his record, and certainly in contrast to the record of this president.
Governor, did you legitimately believe that he was capable of serving as president until January of 2029?
Yeah, I think my focus was frankly situational. It was making sure Donald Trump didn't get back into office to experience everything that we're experiencing today. And there was no interaction I had that suggested otherwise.
What do you say to Americans who feel misled by you and other top Democrats
in what respect? He decided to step
about the
down.
mental acuity of President Biden, that they wish you'd sounded the alarm sooner to give way for an open convention?
I'm not going to substitute myself for someone else or for popular opinion. I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with the former President of the United States, including at the end of his term, quite literally, in December, which was a masterclass of foreign policy and domestic policy, which I will never forget as we walk through not just the election, but we were walking through the world we're living in. There was nothing to suggest what you just said or others have suggested in terms of my interaction. That's all I can be accountable for.
Let's talk about former Vice President Kamala Harris. She says she lost because she only had 107 days to run, among some other factors. In your view, why do you think she lost the 2024 race?
It's a deeper forensic. I think I'm up to 26 pages of other people's opinions on it. I'm not even making that up. By the way, it's, I think, actually 24, to be fair. Let me not overstate it. And there's all kinds of theories. I mean, we can go, you want to go through the list? We'll need an extra hour.
What do you think was at the top of the list,
I don't know.
Governor?
I'm reflecting on it. I think time we'll have a more of an understanding. We can start with inflation. We can talk with interest rates. We don't talk about interest rates enough. We can talk about incumbency. We can talk about Israel. We can talk about immigration and the border. We can go through a myriad of lists. We can talk about Joe Rogan. We can talk about woke. We can talk about the 107 days. We can talk about the lack of an open primary. We can talk about The View. Again, I'm on page 6 of the 24 pages. And how you unpack that, how you stack that in terms of everything, I think needs still a little bit more forensics, a little more analysis.
Do you think if former President Biden had stayed in the race, given that you did stay with him till virtually the end, do you think he could have won?
I think the prevailing winds there were a lot of headwinds. And people were looking for something fundamentally different. They were looking for change. I think the inflation scars were real. I think if I think about my own surrogacy, I talked about the aggregate a lot. I talked about the economy that was booming. It was the best economy since the 1960s, the lowest black unemployment, lowest unemployment for women, lowest unemployment for people with disabilities, the lowest uninsured rate in American history. We had cut child poverty in half. That all happened during the Biden-Harris administration. I was making those points. I was making the point around GDP. I was making the point that inflation was cooling after the inflation scars at 9.1 and moving in the right direction. I was making the point around the American experience in the aggregate, not what American people were experiencing. And I think that was a legit disconnect in terms of the campaign, our communication, and others that would have made it a very challenging election.
In her book, the former vice president writes that she scrambled to reach prominent Democrats hours after President Biden exited the race. And she said that you responded to her call, quote, by saying, Gavin Newsom hiking will call back. He never did. Is that what happened?
100%. And I sent out an endorsement in a few minutes after that. It was one of her first endorsements. The reason she was calling. I've known Kamala all my life. The last person she needs to reach out to is me. So I learned the news. I wanted to get in touch with the Biden folks. I was out on an actual hike. And I said, I was like, Kamala, you got 1 million people to call. And we were literally working as she reached out. It was a voicemail, by the way, unknown number for the record. And as she was on to her next calls, we were already on to our press release endorsing her. So I don't even know why that was even in the book.
Did you feel like she took a swipe at you in her book?
It's all good. We've known each other for 20 years, and I think it's familiarity. I think she was having a little fun.
So no hard feelings.
Oh my
that
God,
she wrote
just the
that.
opposite. Give me a break.
You've said, as we've discussed, you are considering a run for president, and you've said you'll make a decision about whether to run for president after the midterms.
Yeah, I mean,
Governor, let me ask you, why do you want to be president?
I don't. I'm not suggesting I am. I'm saying, in response to someone talked about it, and I hate when nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break. So as it relates to that, there's nothing on the right. I'm focused on Prop 50. I'm focusing on fair and free elections. And to the extent fate, the future, there's an alignment, you have a big enough why, you have a what and a how, you meet a moment, and that moment presents itself in a year and a half, we'll see what happens.
Understood. But if you're thinking about it, that why must be forming.
No.
Well, if you decide to run, why would you want to do it?
Well, I haven't decided, and I appreciate the persistence as it relates to this, and I respect it. I think whoever runs, and this is just my objective belief, subjective, but I hope it's objective for a lot of Americans. It reminds me a little of Isaiah. You need to be a repairer of the breach, spiritually and physically.
So this one is cool. You basically connect your Shopify account and it's able to pull in.
This dude is a talker, bro. Remember what I told you about politicians? Politicians are great at politicking. It's not that they don't know how to politic, but to be the president, you need to be a businessman, not so much a politician.
But it's not just about restoration, the forces of restoration. It's also forces of transformation. And what I mean by that is What are the trend lines that define the future? You know, we're in the future business. I'm here in California. Future happens here first, where America's coming attraction on artificial intelligence, fusion, quantum, robotics, nuclear, space. California dominates in every critical category. I worry about the future work. I worry about the announcement from Amazon. I worry about earnings going up, profits skyrocketing, and headcount going down, meaning less and less people having access and opportunities. I think whoever runs has to paint a vision for the future, a journey that we can be on together that's not just about growth, but about inclusion. Issues of debt and entitlement, issues around energy, and I still believe in climate issues. All those issues need to be front and center eventually for whoever is the nominee of our party.
Do you see yourself as a moderate or a progressive governor?
Oh, I've always saw myself as a pragmatist, a hard-headed pragmatist who balances budgets, doesn't begrudge other people's success, is pro-aspiration, less redistribution, more pre-distribution in terms of addressing the issues of ignorance, poverty, and disease by beginning at the beginning. Our interventions come too late on poverty. That's why we did preschool for all. That's why we're doing after school for all, summer school for all. That's why we've done some of these nation-leading programs, including, by the way, $11 insulin recently. All of those are sort of part and parcel of my value set. But in terms of my policies, hard-headed pragmatism. I'm a small business person, after all. I started a small company right out of college. One part-time employee, grew it to about 1,000 people, 23 little businesses. Not trying to impress you or anyone watching, but I have an entrepreneurial mindset, desire to iterate. And so that's the mindset I try to bring in the work I do.
You've talked about a lot of issues that you care about. Every president has their signature issue. For former President Obama, it was healthcare. For former President Biden, it was infrastructure. As you think about a potential run, what is your top issue? What's your top issue?
I appreciate it. Now we're on the extra innings of persistence. Look, as I said, I'm going to revert back to this notion that quite literally I'm focused on the next couple of days, running the 110-yard dash on Prop 50. And then most importantly, I mean this sincerely, the whole thing, everything, is about winning back the House of Representatives. This is it. This was the warm-up. This was Act 1. I think we have tremendous momentum coming later in this week. Democrats are going to be back on their toes. You're going to be writing all those stories about these two outstanding governors, this dynamic young mayor, what happened in Prop 50, what it means, what it doesn't mean. But one thing it does mean, Democrats are back. Momentum, direction, and we're going to take that momentum. We're going to win back the House of Representatives. That's all that matters. Focus on the essential. That is the essential.
Governor Gavin Newsom, thank you very much. I appreciate.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe for everybody watching.
Other Republicans that don't.
For everybody watching, hit that like button, man. That Newsom, I be trying to tell you, man. All these dudes are great politicians. I said that from the beginning. They all know how to politic. They are great at politicking. This is a fact. But what they're not taking into account is when you're the president, you don't politic. You conduct business meetings. That's what you're doing with these other leaders of these other nations. Those are business meetings. That's not politicking. It's two different things. And a lot of these leaders from these other countries, what people don't want to understand, that they became the leaders and they used to unalive shit when our politicians can't do nothing wrong. Like, think about that. Putin, he was down with their military. He was out there, whatever that shit is called. Their version of our CIA or whatever it was. He was out there in the fields unaliving shit. Our presidents can't even do nothing wrong. So I'm saying, like, to be the president, there's nothing like being a politician because they are good at politicking. Get what I mean? Like, you got a dude here that isn't even willing to take an assist from Trump to clean up the streets in his state. Why would you ever want to be president? You want more lawlessness. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, man. We've been live for about an hour and a half. This is today's second stream. You know, because we stream in the morning and in the evening. So definitely hit that follow button on whatever platform you're at, because we stream into 6 platforms. We're live on Kick, Twitch, and Rumble, on vertical, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're in vertical for the phone. So on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, we're on vertical for your phone. And on Rumble, Kick, and Twitch, we're on horizontal for your TV. So we're doing 2 different formats on 6 different platforms, 1 live, all at one time. This is a whole fact. I appreciate everybody who pulled up and hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. If you are on Rumble, if you are on Kick, if you are on Twitch, man, because you guys get that horizontal. Well, we gotta pause that. That should sound crazy. We gotta pause that.
If it's coming, why fear it? Embrace it.
Pause.
Monetize it.
Oh God, that was
If
crazy.
it's coming, why
Big
fear
pause.
it? Embrace it.
Big pause.
Monetize it.
Big pause alerts.
Big pause.
Big pause. Big pause alerts.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, man. Big pause alerts, man. I had to pause that. That shit sounded crazy. But yo, not for nothing, it do actually sound like he hating on Trump. That's what it sound like. The first thing that he said he's not doing is it just like when he was talking about replying to Arnold Schwarzenegger, when Arnold Schwarzenegger said that he was trying to take away the power from the people and put it back in the politicians. He said that he's wrong, and then he went on to explain how he is gonna do exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. This is what I'm talking about, B. Yo, when I tell you, man, that, like, why do you guys allow these Democrats to play in your face? You know what I mean? Arnold Schwarzenegger told you exactly what he was gonna do, and he said that Arnold is wrong, and then went on to explain exactly what Arnold said. Exactly what Arnold said. He said, no, we're just going to take away. We're going to change the lines. We're going to do. It's only going to be temporarily, but you just said you wasn't going to do it. Now it's only. You said that he was wrong when he said you were going to do that. So he was right. And you're saying that he was wrong. Imagine that. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, man. No matter what platform we at, man. We're going to wrap this up. We've been live a little bit, 2 hours. We was live this morning for like 3 hours and some change. You know, because we go live in the morning. I got a couple of things I got to do tomorrow, but we'll probably stream a little bit different tomorrow, but tomorrow's stream will probably be one long stream. When I do go live tomorrow, I'll probably do one long stream. Or maybe I'll go live maybe I will break it up the way I've been doing. Do live in the morning and then in the evening and just do what I got to do in the middle of the day. I might do it like that. So, man, definitely hit that follow button. Hit that instant. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure no matter what platform you hit that follow, hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure the platform makes you aware of every time the platform drops any content, drops any clips, or goes live, because we definitely go live twice a day. Tomorrow, we'll be live with Speaker Mike Johnson on day 34 of government shutdown. So tomorrow morning, we'll be live with Speaker Mike Johnson, and then in the evening we're gonna see what the Democrats are talking about. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe, man. Get in the chat section, and you know I appreciate everybody who pulls up. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Please, I hope you guys start getting in the chat section. And even if we disagree, it don't matter. As long as we're respectful, we can create dialogue. I'm all about creating dialogue, because I don't expect everybody to have the same point of view. Because if 2 people had the same exact point of view, the second one wouldn't have a reason to exist. You know what I mean? So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe. I appreciate everybody who pulled up, man. We about to get up out of here because we're actually streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on Kick. We're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on Instagram. We're streaming on Facebook. And we're streaming on YouTube. But check this out. On Rumble, Kick, and Twitch, we're on horizontal, left and right for your TV. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, we're on vertical for your phone. So we're streaming to two different layouts across 6 different platforms. Hit that subscribe button, man. We'll definitely be on live tomorrow. I appreciate y'all. We out of here. Hey, remember, stay in that positive frequency. Yeah, let me clean this up. Let me take all my stunners real quick. Stay in that positive frequency. Okay? No matter what's going on. Positive. I don't care what's happening. I don't care what anybody. I don't care the negative that people try to put on you. Always talk to yourself and say out loud. Everything is always working for me. God is always working for me. The Most High is always working for me. The universe is always conspiring for me. I only attract great positive things into my life. I am a magnet for wealth. Thank you, God, for showing me the financially abundant life. Always talk to yourself in a positive format. Never tell yourself no negative. I don't care what's happening. Thank God for solving all my problems. Thank you, God, for solving all my issues. Thank you, God, you already made me a multimillionaire. Thank you, only great positive things happen to me. Thank you, only great positive things happen for me. Thank you, Father God, for giving me all these platforms to affect everyone in a great positive way. Only positivity. Don't say no. Try not to stay away from saying anything negative. You are greatness walking in the flesh. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself 10 positive things every night. When you first wake up, only be thankful. Thank God for all your money. Thank God for your finances. Thank God for making you a multimillionaire. Thank you. No negative. Don't vibrate none of that negative energy, because yesterday's negativity is going to become tomorrow's future. Don't do that. You can't do the same thing, expect a different result. You want something different, tell yourself something different. Think different, talk different, interact to different people. Take a different route to work. Create new neural pathways in your brain. If you want different, you got to be different. You got to think different. You got to talk different. You got to be different. You are different. Even when the same situations happen, you are a creator of your reality. You're not a victim of it. It doesn't matter what's going on. I'm literally starting from $0. From zero. Positive, bro. You got to stay positive. I'm a magnet for wealth. Positive. Tell yourself positive things. Vibrate that positive. Understand that you have an aura around you. That you have this energy field around you, like a toroidal. It's like you have this energy field, like I don't. I'm my age about the show. I don't know how many of you guys ever see Enter the Last Dragon. Remember how he was like turning red, and the other one was turning yellow, like that. Like you have this vibration around you, and what you think, feel, and speak is actually, you could send this field around you. I think about 20 feet. This is what it means when people be like, yo, it's like I walked in the room and everybody could sense my energy. That's what we're talking about, that aura, that field that's around you. So tell yourself positive things, no negative thing. I don't care what's going on. I tell God every day, thank you for my Porsche. Thank you for my Porsche. Thank you for my red Porsche Macan 2021. Thank you, God. Thank you for solving all my financial problems. Thank you, God, for making me a multimillionaire. Thank you, God, for giving me platforms where I have over 1 million subscribers, and every time I go live, it's over 1 million people live in the chat. Thank you for all my donations. Only be thankful, bro. Treat your energy and your attention like it's your currency. Better yet, treat your attention like it's your currency, but look at it like your energy is what energizes it in the direction that your attention is going. Like, act like your attention is the car and your energy is the gas that fuels that car. So combine them both. Watch what you're paying attention to. I am a magnet for wealth. I am a magnet for success. Thank you, God. I love streaming, bro. I promise you. I love streaming every day, man. This is my company. It's how I feed my family, bro. Right here, streaming. Starting from zero, starting all over again. Providing content, no swearing, just trying to provide content that affects the American people, the whole country. These topics affect all Americans. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care if you don't vote. This affects you. These are the lawmakers. The laws are being made and how everything is happening. This affects every American. That's why I chose this topic. That's why I chose politics. That's why I don't do that street shit. That shit is trash. I wouldn't much talk. There's more people that go to work and pay taxes and are regular American citizens than there are gangbangers. That shit is stupid. I would much rather that we use our brains and become more aware. Share knowledge, share information. Like, I've had people, when I used to be talking about this stuff on YouTube, right? I would have people in the chat saying, no, he don't need to send the National Guard to LA. Then I used to have blood members that live in LA, active gang members that live in these locations, that they were saying, yes, send the National Guard. We need the military. Our neighborhoods are going to shit. The stores are being rammed through. The neighborhoods are being, everything is going crazy. We need somebody. But everybody who didn't live there was saying that Trump is overstepping. But the people that lived there, they wanted Trump to come with the military to gain order in their neighborhoods because shit was going crazy. But people who didn't live in the neighborhood said, no, Donald Trump need not to be doing that. And that's what it is. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Like I said, man, tomorrow morning we'll probably be on with Mike Speak with Mike Johnson. I might go on a little bit earlier and just do some talking, do some sharing, and wait for Mike Johnson to talk, you know. Yeah, so I'm maybe I'll get on like definitely before 11 a.m. I'm a gun for like 10:30, 10:45, maybe 10 a.m. I might get lucky and be able to pop on at 9:45 a.m. You know what I mean? And just run the live. I don't know. But we're going to definitely be doing more streaming every day. We're going to be streaming Monday through Friday. We're going to eventually, we're going to be doing like 9-10 hour streams eventually. But right now, I kind of like doing it 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours in the morning, 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours at night. Give me 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours during the day to do a couple of things. You know what I'm saying? But we will be doing a lot more streaming. I promise you on that. And you know, like I said, I hope you guys get in that chat section. Because you know, what I like to do is things like this, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me pause this. I normally keep another page like this open, like a Google box. Well, to be real, this is the Google box. If you look, that's the Google box. You see it up top or you see it all the way on the side? That's that. And what I mean by the Google box is when we're bringing this content and we're talking these topics and we're breaking these subjects, we got another tab that we break open and we look up definition of things. Because I like to talk facts. I don't like to share mislead. I don't like to be wrong. I don't like to give the wrong information. So, because these are all tabs. I promise you, every single box you see, these are all tabs. Just about all of them are tabs. So it's nothing for me to just open another window, like say, and boom, we bring up the Google and we look up whatever it is that we're trying to figure out to get facts. And as you can see, we have more than one tab on the screen. So we always, you know what I'm saying? We always do that. This is a whole tab. That's a tab. The one in the corner over there is a tab. The national shutdown clock, that's its own tab. These are all different tabs, and I still got more that I can make up, and we could bring more. We could bring up more tabs, or we can actually share like 3 or 4 videos at once to have proper context on the topics and subjects that we're talking about in real time. That's how I like to do it. I like to look, you guys remember this, and bring it all up at one time. To be like, look, and this is what I'm talking about when I say misleading. You were saying this then, and this is what happened after that. And now you're saying this now, and this is what's going to happen after this. You get what I mean? Because I'm always open to understand that I could be wrong. Why can I be wrong? Because I don't know everything. I don't think to know everything. But I know I got enough technology, and I got 1, 2, 3, I got 5 monitors, and I got enough data, and I'm only using 43% of my CPU with all this. So I can still bring up even more tabs and run content and give audio and get a better, clearer perspective and get more down closer towards the truth and all the lies get moved away from. Because I don't act like I know everything. I don't think I know everything. That's not my attitude, but my attitude is if all of us combine our awareness, our experiences, our knowledge, we'll be a lot closer to knowing everything, all of us together. Get what I mean? Like a mastermind. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. No, we do not buy views. We've never bought views. We've never bought followers. We've never bought subscribers. We don't do that. We earn the views. We earn the subscribers. We earn the followers. And we earn the chats. We earn them by putting in the work and being authentic and being honest, bro. Because I'm all about honesty, bro. Like I said, man, I can always be wrong. That's what the Google boxes is about. And we could get, like everybody was talking all this tariff, and I had to Google the exact definition of tariff because the way people were talking about the tariffs were like bipolar. It was like polar opposite. Like one person would describe tariffs like it's green. The next person would describe tariffs like it's red. Like they're totally not the same. And then we have to, that's why I came up with the Google box. Said, nah, we always gonna have one of these tabs open where we could look up a definition and put things together, man. That's why you notice we got a whole bunch of visuals going on. That's why that's set up like that. Because I comprehend that we don't know everything and we don't assume to know everything. But the best thing we can do is try to get as close to the truth as we possibly can and use the technology as a tool. Because even all this fear mongering of AI is going to take, no, it's not, bro. What if AI gets you a job where you get a computer, you get to go, you're at work at home, you get to work wherever you want. You don't got to worry about traffic. You get you a laptop that has strong enough CPU, strong enough GPU. You get you an internet hotspot that has strong enough signal, and you could do your job anywhere through your device online. Because even in Pennsylvania, they're giving out free training for AI. Don't always look. It's like in the Bible, it says, seek and you shall find. If you're looking for the negative, you're talking the negative, you're thinking the negative, don't be surprised when you find that negative. That's what you've been looking for. I only think, talk, and feel, and speak and bring up the positive. So I always find the positive. The positive always finds me. I attract. I'm a magnet for wealth. I always attract the positive. I'm a real positive person. I look for the positive. So that's why I keep getting the positive result. That's why I tell you guys, always use the asset liability ratio on everything, on interactions, results, situations, who you talking to, why you talking to, what you're talking about. Is this conversation an asset or a liability to me? Am I learning something? You're only as good as the people you're around. So if you're around 4 broke people, I promise you, you'll be broke man number 5. Get what I mean? Like, you want to be around people that's using that voice in their head as a tool, not allowing that voice in their head to control them. You control that voice. That voice does not control you. Remember that. Remember that, guys. You don't have a soul. Don't let them play you. To say you have a soul, you're saying you are the body. No. You are the soul. You have a body. You don't have a soul. To have a soul means you are the body. No, I am not the body. I am the soul that controls the body. I'm not the body. I have a body. I am the soul. If you have a soul, you're identifying, saying that you are the body. I am not the body. What do they say? The body is the animal. The body is the sin. I am not the sin. I am the soul. I'm experiencing the 3D reality. You know what I'm saying? In this body, I am not the body. I am a soul. I have a body. You understand the vernacular, comprehend what you're saying. Once that negative thought comes in your head, ask it, where are you coming from? Now you are the observer of the program. You're not a victim of the program. You are the creator of your reality, not the victim of it. You are greatness walking in the flesh. I believe in you, man. Now believe in yourself. I am proud of you. If nobody told you lately, I'm here to tell you, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Keep doing the damn thing. Keep your head up. Smile. You are alive, man. You got this far. You know how many people couldn't make it in your shoes, man? Smile. You are awesome sauce, man. I don't care what your yesterdays were. I don't care what your last year looked like. I told you this time last year when you were out trick-or-treating, I was dying in the hospital. They didn't think I was going to make it. This is facts. This is facts. I identify with the positive. I'm starting from zero. YouTube took everything. All the bread I had, I think I got scammed. All kinds of shit. Still positive. Because God is letting me be the example to show that there is nothing impossible for the Most High. The Most High is going to watch. He's going to have me with over 1 million people subscribed, over 1 million people in the chat. God already made me a multimillionaire. You got to speak in the present tense, not in the future tense. You know what I mean? I know God, the universe is always conspiring for me, man. Real talk. I always give all the praise goes to the Most High, bro. I thank God you already made me a I am an internet success. I am an internet success. I am a magnet for success. I am a magnet for wealth. Tell yourself these things. Just like they say, what comes around goes around, you use that. That means if you're putting out negative into the aura, into your aura, that's what you're going to attract. because what brings it out brings what you spitting out, brings it back. What you spitting out. I thank God every day for my red Porsche Macan 2021 Macan Sport. Thank you, God, for my Porsche Macan Sport 2021 in red with black interior and gray rims, blackish gray rims. Thank you, God, for my Porsche. Thank you, God, for fixing all of my financial issues. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. You already fixed all my financial problems. Thank you, God. I am a magnet for wealth. I am a magnet for success. Talk to yourself in a positive way, man. Tell yourself positive things every night. Before you go to sleep, picture it in your first eye. Don't one come before two? So how can that one be your third? No, that's your first eye. These are your second. That's why there's two of them. That's why there's one of those, because that was first and then these are second. You see it in your mind. I got it. Check it out. You see it in your mind and then you see it in your eyes. First you see it in your mind's eye, then you see it in your eye. First you see it in your mind, then you see it in your real life. Paint that picture in your mind. See it with your first eye, so then you can after see it with your second eyes. How about that one, man? Getting that positive frequency, man. You are creator of your reality. Your happiness comes from the inside. Nothing can make you happier than you. You need to smile, man. Every day alive is a great day. You are awesome sauce, man. I believe in you, bro. You got to believe in your dreams. Sometimes you got to be so delusional until it happens. And when it happens, be thankful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you, God, for my Porsche Macan Sport 2021 in red with black interior and gray rims. Thank you, Father God. Woo! I can see myself in my red Porsche Macan Sport 2021. It's red with black interior. Thank you, God. You know what I mean? Thank you. You already did it for me. Thank you. Thank you for fixing all of my financial problems. Thank you for fixing all of my financial issues. Thank you, God. You already fixed it. Thank you. You already made me a multimillionaire. Thank you. You already made me an internet success. Thank you. Magnetize that positive frequency. Get at that high positive. You know what they say, high and low frequency? Check it out. Your low chakras is your lower part of your body. High frequency is where your brain is. Think with your upper chakras. Think at that high frequency. Vibrate high, man. You know what I mean? And smile, bro. You are alive. What else you need to be happy about? Because you're alive. You know how many people didn't wake up at all? I promise you. You know how many people are in prison for the rest of their life, miserable as hell? Smile. You are alive, bro. You are greatness walking in the flesh, man. We about to get up out of here, man. Check me out tomorrow morning, man. I appreciate all of y'all that pulled up. Thank you. You guys are awesome sauce, man. That's a fact.